asleep amidst the trees. Bats all are swaying in the breeze. But one so light, anxious, wide awake, fearing all manner of ghouls, hags and wraiths. For your dolly Polly sleep has flown, don't dare let her tremble alone. For the wheelchair, heartless cold, paid in coin of gold. He comes, he'll go, leave naught behind but heartache and woe. Deep, deep woe. It's all silent for the night. House turned in as daylight dies. But when so light, anxious, wide awake, fearing all manner of ghouls, hags and wraiths, my dead all look on.
Hi everyone and welcome to the Haunted Connection show. So I hope you're all well. We're bringing this to you from the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre in Hinckley, Leicester, and we are sponsored by Sims Vintage Antiques in Wootton Warren near Stratford. So hi to everyone. Tonight we've not got a guest, so we are going to talk about social media and the impact that it has. I think it's driving everybody a bit mad at the moment. So what do you think, Neil?
Well, it's definitely driving me a bit mad. I am so frustrated with Facebook. Twitter I'd sort of disregard. I can't get on with Twitter at all because I've got a Twitter account, but I just can't get on with it. So it's basically Facebook. And the most annoying thing to me is, you know, with Haunted Antiques, we've got over 16,500 followers, but our posts sometimes go to 200 people. And
Yeah.
it's so people aren't seeing everything that we're doing, which is very frustrating. So what do you think, Jane?
Well, where'd you start? It seems to me to be quite a biased way of working, really. If you're not sort of putting all the clickbait up there, if you're not inviting stars, if you're not sort of trying to get, you know, scrounge money out of people in order that they can watch your content, then you seem to get sort of the algorithms don't seem to sort of be in your favor. And I think that's a bit unfair, really. Anybody who's watching, if you have got thoughts, comments, you know, we'd love to hear your point of view from, you know, all the people in the paranormal. We'd like to hear your points of view on social media in the paranormal, because I've been seeing lots of comments lately. So many people seem to be frustrated, and Facebook seems to be doing all sorts of weird things that just doesn't seem to be making people happy.
Yeah. Well, just look at, I think it was last week, Facebook threw us off completely. It wouldn't let me connect to Facebook at all, and that happened on the Demon Files as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
On the last Demon Files, we couldn't connect to Facebook. Don't know why. No matter what Ben and I did, we just couldn't connect to Facebook. And I think last week it kicked me off, didn't it?
Yeah. But it doesn't seem to help or promote teams, does it? And I don't mean like helping them, but it doesn't seem to be fair.
No.
You know, it's very temperamental at times, and I can see Jackie's put a comment up there.
Yeah, I'm just going to share that.
We're getting I know
Jackie's saying I keep getting banned for no reason. No one they have told me about. Not one they've told her about. which is just not fair, is it?
No.
And there's another comment here. Lots of people said hello. As you know, I don't say hello to everybody because we have so many names coming. I don't want to miss anyone out. But Caroline says, yes, I agree, Neil and Jane. And then SM Spirit Searchers are the Paranormal and Explorers says Facebook just want money off people. Then they claim it will reach more people. So what do you think to that comment, Jane?
It just seems to be about money, money, money all the time. I mean, it hasn't Zuckerberg got enough money?
It's a
You know,
multi-billionaire, for God's sake.
I know, but he always wants more, and it's down to the little people that seem to get penalised just because he wants more and more and more, and it just seems unfair to me. It's all, you know, I just can't get my head around it sometimes. How somebody who's got so much money always wants more, and they've got to penalise people to constantly be after more and more and more money all the time.
Yeah. I reckon it's actually got worse since the start of this rubbish about the stars and show your support for this team. I think it's got worse because I might be mistaken because I've never looked into these stars. I'm not interested. We will never ever do that sort of thing. But some of the stars, do they have to pay for these stars? So some of the money goes to the team and some money goes to Facebook. So of course they're getting money out of it.
Yeah.
So
I do think it's I do think as well the problems have sort of escalated while we've been in lockdown over the last year, because so much content has been done now through Facebook, isn't it? All the lives, there's people doing readings over, you know, people with their pages doing readings, there's live investigations, there's so much more content now going on through Facebook because of lockdown. And is this now why they're getting so greedy? You know, they've already had all this money while people have been in lockdown, because people have been desperate to sort of find some alternative things to watch, or they've been trying to get their paranormal fix just by watching, you know, watching people's lives. But when it's share, and send us your money and send us your stars and all that sort of thing, it loses its, it becomes... Yeah. Well, for me, I just switch off from that.
Yeah, let's put some more comments up because we're getting quite a few through. Mark says, social media, in my opinion, has ruined the paranormal with live streaming. Yeah, to some extent, I agree with you, Mark. However, we do live feeding because our supporters say they like to watch the live feeds, and we enjoy doing it. But there is so much, like Jane says. Wendy says, I had to watch it on catch up because it got kicked off, and then I had to share it. So it wasn't live for you then, Wendy, which is, you know, that we like doing lives. Jackie says, Paracon got kicked off mid-show when they were talking to Gary Fields last week. They just got kicked off, and I don't think it's fair.
See, even Julie has had, when she shared things, when they've said she shared things too much, she's had like bans, hasn't she?
Yeah.
And all she's doing is sharing stuff.
Yeah.
You know, how can some teams can just say share and send us your stars and send us your money, and they get, you know, they seem to get a pat on the back for that, and yet little businesses as such who are saying share, get them banned for sharing too much.
It's Wendy says it's not right. Anne says, hi Anne, I was put in Facebook jail for quoting the Taken quote. It's ridiculous. Caroline says it's all very unfair. Anne says, my mates did get 24 hours peace when she got banned. So there's always something good about everything.
But do you think it's gone too woke as well? You know, we used to pride ourselves on being a nation of free speech, but you can't. There's so much now that you just can't say. I know Dave, when we were doing one of the Loonies shows, he got told off and put in Facebook jail because we were talking about Nessie's carving knife, her electric bread knife that she cut a mattress up with. And he was talking, and she was talking about spiders, and he said something like, "Oh, kill it with a bread knife." And because of that, he got penalised by Facebook. Yeah.
Oh dear. I think it's gone too far. I think everything's gone too far. Like I say, Facebook is doing my head in. Caroline says some are free, but only a few pence each. Thing is, if they're a few pence each, if they're getting 1 million in a night, that's an awful lot of money coming into them, isn't it?
People are sending 50, 200, 500 stars at a time, aren't they?
Yeah. Jackie says even shows in the US are getting viewers of 15 and they don't ask for stars either. See, what's that all about? 15 viewers.
Yeah. It seems to me that unless you're trying to generate more income, unless you're trying to generate more income for Facebook, it seems to limit your numbers. Are they then trying to force all your viewers onto people who are then just going to, you know, ask them for stars and money?
Loads of comments, so this is great. Anne says stars and funding to me is plain begging. SM Spirit searchers, but then they don't stop the trolls from attacking you when you report them. That's another thing, isn't it? It's trolls are a big problem with Facebook at the minute. And Wendy says it's good to be part of things. That's what we try. It's just very frustrating. SM Spirit Searcher says Facebook get a percentage of the money from the stars.
Yeah. So Zuckerberg just wants more all the time.
It explains everything. And like I say, I don't know about these stars because they don't interest me. Wendy says it's taken out of context. Yeah. Whether perhaps it's automated and they've got security words or security sentences like cut it up with a knife.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I think as well it's like all the algorithms and stuff, isn't it? You know, I know a few people who have run competitions and raffles and things over the pages during lockdown, which is great. They've done competitions, and I've engaged in some of these things, but because I'm not a top sharer or I'm not necessarily one of the top viewers, then even though my answer on this particular competition, even though my answer got there first, they opted to give the prize to the top sharer because the algorithms said that person should get the prize as such. And to me, that is completely unfair. If you're in a competition, you're in a competition. If you've invited people to come and join into your competition, you then shouldn't be, if you like, discriminated against because you're not necessarily watched that program as much as somebody else. And I now will not engage in anybody's raffles or their competitions and stuff like that because there's no point. Because I just feel that, there's somebody that will just come in over the top of me and win the prize because they perhaps shared something more than me. Yeah,
that's wrong. Okay, Luke said it's crazy. We get banned for the smallest thing on Facebook, yet some worse stuff doesn't get a ban. It's a matter of time until we have to pay to watch lives. You're probably right there, Luke. He's obviously not getting enough money and he's only got a few billion, isn't he?
Yeah. Are you listening, Mr. Zuckerberg? I hope you're going to watch this because people aren't happy.
I shall probably get banned. Kathy says, I'm planning a few investigations that I wanted to do as lives in honour of our lead investigator who died this year to bring awareness and possibly sponsorship for a stroke charity. It was suggested as a sponsored ghost hunt. Do it, Kathy, and we'll help you share it out as well. Raise some money for the charity. Yeah. We'll definitely do that. It's a lovely thought. And Wendy says, Jane, that's probably the truth. That's about money. That's it, Neil. It's all about money. Forcing groups to pay and go down that route of stars.
Yeah.
Yeah. I firmly believe that's what they want. They just want to get the money out of you, and I'm just not prepared to do it. I've got no interest in stars.
It don't work because it'll just drive people away, you know, and then you'll be left with just like some of the more popular groups, and that's all that will be available for you to watch, because you won't be able to watch them unless you're paying stars and stuff like that. And then all the smaller groups will have already have gone by then, because they just won't bother anymore. You know, like how we did with the Demon Files. Once it just wouldn't load onto Facebook, we just went on YouTube. Yeah. And, you know, in the end, Facebook will lose out. I mean, I know they don't care about the little people and you know, losing a few quid when they can generate billions by ripping people off. Then, you know, it's going to be the same old thing, isn't it? You're just going to have to vote with your feet and show them.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't agree with it by leaving, not doing it, and engaging with them.
Yeah, okay. Wendy says, how legal is that with competitions? Probably not legal at all. But how do you police that sort of thing? You know, is Facebook actually policed? Kathy says, thank you. That's about the charity night. And I think Diane's made a comment about the charity night as well. Diane says, I'd happily come and do an evening on clairvoyance for charity. Thank you, Diane. Get in contact with Kathy Adams, or if you both contact me, I'll pass the information on. Noreen says, I will never pay to subscribe to any channel.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing it now, though, aren't they? With like the Patreon, you know, you can just watch a little bit of the content, and then they just do a special stuff for their supporters or their Patreon. And unless you're paying, you can't see that extra content. But that's just, you know, I wouldn't pay to go on any of those.
No.
Because by the time you paid for a couple of them, or, you know, 3 or 4 of them, it's a lot of money. It really is.
Yeah. Jackie says, on lives, it now seems to say buy 200 stars to get a pinned post. Are the groups even aware this is happening? I think they probably are, Jackie, because I'm forever getting notifications from Facebook saying, your supporters want to help you sell these stars back, and it goes on about stars. I get one of their messages every day.
Yeah, they're crafty with it, aren't they?
It's not going to happen. Diane says, totally agree. It's a sad, sad world we live in. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's not the world. It's some of the people that living on it.
You see, that this is the way the whole society is going, and I just think it's so sad that, you know, at what point will it be, you know, like you said, that everything will be charged for? People are going to have to pay to watch everything. Yeah. You know, why can't we do free shows for the people who support us? Why can't we put in free content, you know, so people can watch it for free? You know, it seems to be becoming more of a bad thing if you want to try and do things free for people. Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense, does it? And like I say, it's annoying when you try and build up a brand like we've built up Haunted Antiques to 16,000 people, and they don't get to see what we do. And I just find that disgraceful.
Yeah, and even if you try and share stuff out,
then you get banned.
But it doesn't send it out to everybody, does it? You know, if you wanted to send one message out to every one of your 16,000 members or supporters or whatever, followers, then you can't, can you? Because they will stop it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Lee, let's get Lee's comment because it's a big one. Lee says, I've always investigated for the love of it, never for money. Let's face it, equipment can be expensive, locations can be expensive, fuel to get there, etc. We sit in the dark, sometimes freezing cold in the middle of the night, chatting to something that may or may not be there. You have to be dedicated to the subject to do that.
Yeah, and I agree with that. So even though things are expensive, you buy equipment, but you tend to only buy it the once, don't you? And you'll use it over and over and over again. So you do tend to get your value from that. I mean, with fuel and that anyway, you're going to pay that to get there anyway. I think the point I'm trying to make is if nobody was watching and if you had, even whether you were doing a live or not, would you go anyway to investigate? Because I know I would, up at the centre. If there's nobody watching and we're not doing a live or anything like that, but there's something we want to do, we'll do it anyway. And it's if you've got that if you've got that bug and you really want to do it, then you will spend the money and you'll do it on your kit for your own enjoyment or for your own investigations.
Yeah. Okay. Some more comments. Diane says, I'd just like to say thank you so much for last Sunday's show with Ames. Yeah, again, you see, Amy did a live investigation from the centre for GHT, and you didn't get notified, did you, Jane?
No, didn't have the notification, and I was really miffed that I'd missed it. But I didn't get the notification at all. And how many people does that happen to? When you do lives anyway, how many people don't get a notification?
And you are a major part of the centre. And if you're not getting notified, the other 16,000, probably more with GHT's support followers as well. It's just, it's easy.
I just don't know how it works. I don't know how they think it's okay.
No, I don't know. Nori says, I just refuse in principle. I feel it becomes entertainment rather than investigation. Just my opinion. That's great, Nori. We like opinions. Melanie says, good evening, everyone. I've skipped past everybody now. Let's get Jackie up. Jackie says, I will go elsewhere to put content on, but it's a community on Facebook. Yeah. I'm not going to say too much, but we do have plans to change all this, don't we, Jane?
Yes.
We're not saying what it is, but we do have plans. So keep watching. Diane says, I'm a fan of Elvis Presley and have travelled miles to watch shows, but during the last 15 months isolation, we have to pay for friendship in the outside world of our homes. Yeah, you shouldn't have to pay. It's all money.
Yeah. I think it's a bit much when you have to now start paying to watch things generally online that would have been free anyway. So because of lockdown and more stuff going online, people then have to pay to watch it.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit bad when it was all free sort of before lockdown.
Wendy says, I just got frozen out for trying to like a comment. See, that's Facebook is pain in the backside. Then she says all the times.
Yeah.
And then Diane says, may I just say in response to Lee, I've never ever charged a penny for doing platform work as a medium. It's for the love of connecting the two worlds.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Lee says, if we go live and get one person watching or 50, it doesn't matter. We will still do the same thing regardless. Neil is a great guy and Jane a great woman.
Ooh.
Oops, sorry, I just I like that. I'm sorry. That last comment just tickled me, Lee.
It's all right.
Sorry. I just assumed you gender.
So we're both old school. You can call me a woman, and you can call Neil a man, because that's what we were brought up to do.
But yeah, we don't do our lives to get 100,000 viewers or 10,000 viewers. We do it. We enjoy doing lives. We obviously enjoy investigating the centre. We enjoy doing lives because we can see people's thoughts as we're doing it.
Yeah.
And people can see as we're doing it, you know. Plus, editing videos are a painstaking thing to do anyway. So I just can't be. I can't.
Sharing.
Yeah, and I like it because people feel like they're there with you.
Yeah.
That's what I like doing. That's what
we like, sharing our investigations with people, particularly, you know, the people who have followed us since we opened. And it's good to get, you know, the feedback and let people be involved.
Yeah, and I can't always do it, but if someone suggests me on one of our lives, if someone suggests to me go into the Chamber of Fear, for example, we will probably go and do it, because they might be sensing something that's happening in the Chamber of Fear, for example. That's just one example. Right, I think this is Michelle, actually. It's a lot of the paranormal TV shows on TV are going onto D+, and you have to pay. I've not got it yet. I don't know what D+ is, but I won't pay.
Not Disney, is it?
I don't know.
Disney. I don't know if it's Disney Plus or something like that.
Diane says, totally agree. I know I've got friends who hate live paranormal feeds, but that's fine. That's their. They don't like it. You don't like it. The most important thing is to still be friends. Just because you don't agree on something, still be mates. What makes me mad to get people that can make out of paranormal dressing up and silly costumes, having thousands of people watching them. Yeah.
Well, that's yeah, that I would class that as entertainment.
Yeah. Noreen says, I just feel that since the stars and subscriptions came in, the drama and nastiness crept in. I have no objection to people having adverts to raise funds, but I've found the other methods seem to bring in negativity. That's a very good point.
Yeah. And you do see a lot of the clickbaiting stuff, don't you? You know,
yeah.
Oh my God, demons in the churchyard and stuff like that, just to make people watch. And then when they watch, there's no such thing.
that does wind me up. The titles of some of the lives or recorded shows. Oh my God, it's the evilest place I've ever been. And you watch it and you think, yeah, okay. Nothing really happened. Perhaps it's just me. Oh, I've skipped through lots of comments again. I do apologise. Amy says, I love doing the lives at the centre.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do enjoy them. Diane says, you are all so down to earth. It's really interesting to watch the variety of your shows. Thank you. Jackie says, doing lives for HAPRC have helped me get through the lockdown, and I've spoken to lovely people and met up with a couple 2 weeks ago. That's good.
Yeah, that's nice.
And you are coming to the centre very soon, Jackie, aren't you?
I know the live feeds have helped a lot of people, and you know, that particularly when people have been housebound or in isolation or whatever, just to get your paranormal fix. It's been great to watch a lot of the shows.
Yeah. Wendy says, I love having the interaction. Yeah, that's what we love about it. Lee says, I totally respect anyone who does things for free, and even if they charge a reasonable amount. I can't remember where it was, but one place wanted to charge around 600 for a few hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. Some of the locations are going to go up in price as well, I'm sure, after this lockdown, because they want to get the money back that they've sort of lost in the lockdown.
Yeah, I think prices have gone up everywhere, haven't they, across the board for everything, because the businesses are just trying to claw money back.
Yeah, to me, it's false economy, and that's perhaps one of the reasons why we've sold out this year.
Yeah,
We're not charging silly amounts. Diane says 100% agree. They are amazing. Melanie says, good for you. It shouldn't be all about money spinning all the time. Full respect. Thank you, Melanie. Okay. Oh, a couple of people have says, John says, Discovery Plus.
Oh, it's Discovery Plus, is it?
And so did Noreen.
Yeah.
That was my wife.
Bless you, Julie.
She's just blown a hole in the wall, I reckon. Kay says, I love watching the lives. They are great fun, and it also helps us personally develop our psychic abilities. That's good. I like it when we do our lives and people say what they're sensing. I find that really interesting. Yeah. Especially when they pick up something that you've already picked up on, Jane, or something we know about the centre.
Yeah.
Caroline says yes, Discovery Plus. I've gone too far again. Jackie says, Diane Drake, what else would I do stuck in my house? It's the first time in a day I may speak to someone.
Oh,
I think Jackie.
I do feel for Jackie.
She's been going a bit stir crazy.
For a lot of people. Yeah, if you live on your own and you've been in lockdown for months, I do feel for people.
Then Jacqueline says, I can't wait. I'm nearly bouncing off the walls.
Not long now.
I think Jackie's actually coming next Friday. Mandy says, all the negativity puts you off even wanting to watch sometimes. It feels like the paranormal has turned into a war zone, all fighting for likes and stars and shares.
Yeah.
That's very true, isn't it? It's a bit sad.
You see, I don't like being sort of feeling like I'm being pushed or pulled into something like that, and I just won't watch it.
Yeah. Lee says, bless you, Julie.
I think as well it detracts from your investigation, because when you're investigating and you're constantly asking for money and you're constantly asking for likes and shares and all that sort of stuff, spirit understand that, and when it's all about your ego and your profit and your fame and everything else like that, spirit won't engage with you. Spirit will take a step back, and they're not interested in making money for people or making people famous as such. They're interested in communication, and it takes a lot of energy for them to communicate with us, and if it's all about your ego, then they're not going to work with you.
So do you think, I'm going to wait for some more comments. John says you've cleaned his sinuses out, Julie. While we wait for some more comments, do you think, like you just said, when they're asking for stars and share and do this and do this and do this, do you think they actually get less activity then than they would have done normally?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's all about your ego. And even if spirit did sort of show up and try to communicate with you, and they're there tapping on everything, but all you're saying is send us your stars, send us your stars. They're not going to stand there tapping around forever, because you're not even engaging with spirit, because all you're doing is just trying to get money out of people with stars and shares and likes and stuff, and it's all about you and your ego. It's not about the genuine communication spirit. Even if you're not even listening or watching or trying to engage with spirit, because you're so busy trying to get money out of people, that spirit won't work like that. They won't work with you.
That's interesting. I've never thought about that. John says some people are only in it for the ego stroke. That's very definitely. Colette says, when I do live feeds on my page, I never ask people to share, etc. I'll leave it up to the individual person. If they want to like and share, that's up to them. Wendy says definitely less activity. That's interesting, especially when they say they get activity everywhere they go.
Yeah.
Some groups, and it's the most evil place they've been. Diane says, Neil, is there a black iron object in the museum that was used to kill someone? It has bugged me since Sunday.
Now, I thought when I watched it back, I did think there was an iron in there. Isn't there a solid black iron, one that you sort of used to, a smallish one that you used to just put in the fire? I'm sure there's a black iron in there. Isn't it on the shelf with the little clogs?
Yeah.
Isn't it on the shelf where the little clogs were in the photo frames?
I think it is. You put it on the heat on the fire, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like a solid black iron.
So there you go. That's your answer, Diane. Yes, there is. I don't know if we've ever done any work with it, because it's not. It don't spring to my mind.
No, but I do know it's there on the shelf.
Well, that's good. There you go. Diane says, kept getting the image of the old style iron. Yes, it is an old style iron. And Amy says, Dan, the only thing I can think of is the spear. No, there's, like Jane said, I think there's an old black iron.
It used to be on the shelf where the little black clogs were and the little photo frames by the door, by the old back stairs.
Yeah.
Where all the knickknacks were, on the same shelf where the typewriters on the bottom.
Yeah, I know.
On that set of shelves.
Dan says, yes, thank you, Jane. See, this is why we have Jane, you see.
That's why he pays me the big bucks.
Yeah. Karen says, well, if I was in spirit and living people trying to make money from me doing party tricks, I'd definitely not interact. And that's what you said, Jane.
Yeah.
I'd not actually thought about that, but it's just, Michelle says, we are happy even if we get one like or share, but we don't go on about it. We just do investigation or explore and enjoy it. And yes, it is Michelle.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So when these teams then, all they're bothered about is likes and shares.
Yeah.
But everywhere they go is really active.
Yeah.
Do you honestly think they're faking it or is that exaggerating it?
Obviously I've not been there and I've not been with them or anything else like that, but I've worked with spirit long enough to know that once your ego becomes involved, they do step back because they're not there. You know, it's a mutual thing when you're working with spirit. They'll come and work with you and you've got to work with them. And if it's all me, why should they bother? Why should they waste their energy? Because you're not going to get, you know, if you're not really serious about working with them and you just always, like I said before, you're always talking about sharing and liking and sending you stars and everything else, you're just missing everything that spirit are doing for you anyway. So they're just going to think, oh, sod this, I ain't playing with them. And, you know, they're not going to, but it doesn't take long for you to yourself to build up a reputation in the spirit world where they're just going to sort of say, oh, it's him again. Oh, sod that. We ain't interacting with him.
Yeah. Diane says, oh wow, I can now thank Spirit for the visions. Can't wait to visit. Amy says, they're on the opposite side of the room, but I didn't see an iron, but remember it in the past. I'm going to have a look Saturday when we go up now.
Yeah, you got us all intrigued now. We've all got to go and
Yeah.
find it. We'll be on the trail.
But yeah, there was definitely an old iron.
Yeah.
But I can't remember seeing it for ages. Never mind.
Well, I can picture it now, but I've not been up for ages, but I knew it was on that shelf.
Jacqueline says HAPRC is always active. Thank you, Jacqueline. So, like Jacqueline says, the centre is always active. What makes the centre so particularly active? What's your thoughts, Jane?
I think for one, it's the energy that's there, the energy that we sort of take up as a team. We're always very respectful. We don't we don't work with an ego. None of us in the team work with an ego, and that's really important. The energy's built and built and built with the work that we've done there anyway. So it's almost like the energy's in the bricks. It's a bit like the spiritualist church. If once the energy's in the bricks and in the building, you can't just get rid of that.
Yeah.
You can't just it's there all the time. And I've always said that, the center is like a beacon in the spirit world. It attracts. It attracts all the spirits that are passing by, that are going through, that are in the area, and even spirits that aren't sort of in and around. They will come to the centre. All the different experiences like we had, like when the fair was in town.
Yeah.
We had that when we did that séance, it was like a through fair coming through. Coming through the centre. We've had things come through the mirror. We've had things come through different doorways. I think as well, because we are operating with such an open mind, that anything and everything can come through and be respected, and we can work with it, and it's always done as well. It's always provided us with stuff, and other people as well. When other people, different teams have come, and they're respectful, then they will get activity. Yeah,
definitely. Good answer. Mandy says there's plenty of evidence to debunk to prove they are faked. Unfortunately, they crave the money and therefore need the viewers and need to keep them engaged and entertained. Very true. And of course, we are not talking about one particular team at all, because we don't do that. Because it's not just one particular team anyway, is it? John says, with some people, if a mouse farts, it would be demonic. Some will regard any small noise as a sign of spirit.
Yeah, I think you've got to be a bit sensible with it, haven't you?
Yeah.
If it's car doors slamming outside the window and that, you can't say that that's spirit. No. If it's, if it's in the building.
Yeah.
When we did that, when we did the Demon Files last, I didn't hear it because I've got my earphones on in the séance room, but everybody else heard a massive bang on the stairs. It was definitely in the building. Everybody knew where everybody else was. And, when you hear stuff like that, then, you've got to question it. And as usual, you couldn't explain it. So,
that's right.
that is interesting to us. But not everything is demonic or spirit, but you've got to be sensible.
Yeah, definitely. And we are always honest. It would be in our interest to say all the noises are unexplained, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But quite often you'll hear us say that's car door slamming.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah.
Wendy says,
the other thing as well, I think that the other thing as well, just that makes the centre so special, is the fact that we do work in truth and honesty.
Yeah.
And that is a massive thing, and spirit will always work with us when we work like that.
Yep. Wendy says, Your attitude leads to high activity. Thank you, Wendy. I've gone past lots of comments again. Let's go back up. Sorry. Amy says, I always say hello when I arrive and thank you when I leave the centre. Yes, we do. We actually talk to the residents like they're our friends, because they are, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like walking into somebody's house, isn't it? Also, like when you walk into work in the morning, you go, "Hi, everyone, morning."
Yeah. So, and we all do that every time we go. They're like our extended family, and that's that. Even the nasty ones, we'll say hello to them because they still need respect. Jacqueline said, "You respect the inhabitants of HAPRC like Mary." Yeah, we do, and that's always important. Okay, Mr. Stevenson. Mr. Stevenson says, "Hi, Neil and Jane. They've lost us. We're going to peek over the top." You can tell he's a writer, can't you? Paul says, "Hi, Neil and Jane. Cannot wait to be back at yours doing our first Haunted Live for over a year. Details coming soon. Sod the stars. Sod the negativity, sod the egos, promote the positivity, promote the great and the good of the paranormal. I have a laugh, have fun, and if anyone sees me at HAPRC, just hug me. No need to ask."
Oh, you see, that's the sort of attitude that spirit will always work with. When you're positive, when you're happy, when you're open to communication, and that's why they always have a good night, because the spirits want to come and hug them the same as we do.
Yeah, and you'll be allowed to hug when he's back.
Yay!
So Paul will be happy. Just don't ask him to make you a cup of tea. Oh, he's put it again. So I won't put your comment up. Thanks for watching, Paul. I can't wait to see you guys again. Wendy says 3 times now I've been locked out.
Oh,
and that's within 48 minutes. Facebook.
It's just so frustrating.
John says it was great seance after the fair. Yeah, I think that was a special night, wasn't it? You were working overtime that night, Jane. Diane says it's the same as dust particles, not orbs. Laugh out loud. I think we'll have to have another show on orbs, shall we?
Yeah.
Shall we talk about orbs next week?
If you want.
Yeah. Karen says, "What does anyone need stars, etc.? 99% of investigations are outside or in derelict buildings, especially through this lockdown. I just wonder."
Yeah, see, I think that's another debate, isn't it? With that's caused a lot of controversy as well when people have been out doing investigations when they shouldn't have been during lockdown, and not only are they out during lockdown, but they're also trespassing on private property where they've not got permission. And I know there's quite a few been called up for that.
Diane says that's a union of spiritualism in love and light.
Yeah.
John says, "I used to work in a haunted building. I always said hello and goodbye." That's exactly what we do, John. Well, John knows us at the centre. Paul says #green tea. There's plenty of mileage in that one, Paul. Caroline says, "Oh yes, about orbs, please." I think Caroline wants us to discuss orbs. Quick question then about orbs then. Do you think the debate on orbs has a place in the paranormal?
I think so, but I think people are too black and white with orbs. You know, we know 99% of orbs are dust and moisture particles and everything else. but there is a very small percentage of orbs that I mean, I've seen them myself, and you know, when an orb is going against the flow of the, you know, against the flow of the traffic of dust particles and everything else, and it's almost intelligent as the way it's moving around, and it's pulsing, and it's actually working with you, then there is a small percentage of orbs that are spirit. And I don't care what anybody says, you're not going to change my mind on that, because I've seen them and I've worked with them and I've sort of connected with them, and not, you know, you can't just dismiss orbs, because if that spirit has only got the energy, or it's manifested itself into that light and you can see it, then you know, then it's there.
Yeah. Oh, there's loads of comments again.
Just going back, one of the ones that I did see that was so interested, and we caught it on film. It is in the film. It is in the archives somewhere. But it's when we were at Wigston House on one of the locked off cameras, and the orb came down from the ceiling. It came through the ceiling, and it was pulsing, and it went all the way down to the floor. Then it came back up again, and it hovered outside of the light. And it was like it was getting the energy from the light, and then it went back up into the ceiling. That's not a dust particle.
No. Kathy says, I have a few living impaired in my house. Just greet them the same as kids. Caroline says, yes, I do, Neil. She thinks orbs should be discussed in the paranormal. Okay, the next Tuesday we will discuss orbs. Karen says, yes, I agree, John. It's proper etiquette when you're visiting someone living or spirit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Wendy says, blame it on the orbs. I've just seen Jason's comment. Caroline says, I get shiny orbs. Jason says something about pizza now. Jason of Haunted Live says, looking forward to a pizza, no pineapple. It has to, Jason, you know it has to be pineapple, as well as the Haunted Live investigation. Agree with Paul. Focus on the positive, not sure about hugging it. No, no, come on, Jason. You must have missed Paul's hugs in the last year that you've not been out. Dan says, Jane, perfect answer. Caroline says, oh, brilliant, looking forward to it. That's about next week's show. And Lee says, we always discount orbs as dust, water particles, bugs, etc., unless we capture one that travels in a strange way, which is just what Jane says. I have seen one with my own eyes, which freaked me out, especially since a fellow investigator had seen the same thing a few months earlier.
Yeah.
You
know, I often think about this. You know, when I went into the mirror and
yes.
I was traveling as light, and I went up and I got protection, and my protection was to make my light brighter. And I often think, when I was traveling through that mirror, would I have looked like an orb?
That's interesting, isn't it? Perhaps when you do it again, we ought to have a night vision camera on you as well.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Wendy says, yes, would like to know more about them orbs. Then Caroline says, I get the beautiful feathery orbs, and they're amazing. Can you remember that one we caught at Gresley Old Hall on the balcony? Yeah. The what's it called? Balustrading, whatever it's called.
Yeah, on the stairs, wasn't it?
Yeah, on the stairs. It came down the stairs and changed shape, and it actually looked like a hand, didn't it? And went across the banister, then down the other stairs.
Yeah.
I must have that footage somewhere.
Yeah, I've seen one when I did a house clearance, and there was a really bright orb. It was probably about the size of a tennis ball, that was hovering in the landing, because I was sitting in the bedroom looking out the door, and this light appeared like as big as a tennis ball, and then it changed into like a cone shape and went down the stairs.
Amy says, real light anomalies produce their own light, whereas dust reflects light. And Karen says, well, it looks like Karen's not a fan on orbs. I think a can of Pledge polish should be part of the paranormal kit.
Yeah.
Jason says, we've met up a few times recently, just elbow bumps so far. Pineapple and pizza, worse than meeting a spirit at HAPRC. Can't wait to see you guys again very soon now and get some activity.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see your face, Jason, when you walk into some of the rooms now. I remember. I can always remember the first time you walked in. Your face was a picture, mate.
It was like the energies hit him all at once, wasn't it? You know, and that does happen to quite a few people. They walk into the centre. I mean, I'm not sure about downstairs now, because I haven't really seen people react the same way downstairs since they come into the tea room downstairs as they did upstairs. And when they used to walk into the tea room upstairs, it was almost like all the energies would hit them at once, and it would take their breath away. And that would be the point where they either turn around and run away or they sit down and have a cup of tea.
Okay, Diane says, we caught some amazing orbs via video, 5 shuttering speed photos and Polaroid snaps, St. Augustine's and Slough Fort. Brilliant evidence. Be interested to see them, Dan.
Yeah.
Kathy says, my bad nanny moment, my son sent me a video of my grandson in his electric Jeep. My response was, wow, look at that orb. Before, isn't he cute? Lee says, it's a long one. Lee says, I investigated a friend's house many years ago and left a camcorder filming on a table. She came over to pick something up and had a low-cut top on. She realised what she had done in front of the camera and apologised. A few weeks later, she asked me if the camera picked anything unusual. I replied, so far in your living room, I've got a couple of orbs, thanks to your mistake. Fortunately, she laughed and saw the funny side.
I think that's a different kind of live feed, isn't it?
Yeah. Karen says, I like orbs when they are orbs. I'm just not a dust orb person. Laugh out loud. No, we aren't either, Karen. And when we were investigation team, I think we went through a phase of disregarding everything to do with orbs, didn't we? And I think we must have missed so much interesting footage that we should have looked more into. Yeah.
But I think since we've been at the centre, we have seen a lot of light anomalies, even with the naked eye. You know, it doesn't have to be through a camera or a lens. You can see some really quite big light anomalies at the centre. We've seen them in blue lights and white lights and all sorts.
Well, can you remember when you lot had the centre for an evening and Julie came up with you and Julie saw all them different coloured lights?
Yeah.
Nobody else could see them, but Julie said she could see all these different coloured lights. And so go on.
I'm just going to say, I think that's really good when that happens, when there's several people in the room and only one person could see them, because they were just showing that to Julie.
Yeah.
Only Julie could sort of blend with that energy and see those lights, and that was just a great experience.
It was incredible for Julie, because possibly one of the first investigations she'd done.
Yeah, won't be the last.
No, it won't be the last. Jason says, never experienced an energy like it. Looking forward to seeing how a year away has affected the team experiences. I really can't wait to you guys coming up. I think you're going to have one hell of a night.
Yeah, very good.
Amy says, that's a confession if ever I heard one. Laugh out loud. About Lee's friend. And Paul says, even Jason's goosebumps will have goosebumps. I actually think we haven't, the guys haven't decided a date yet for their first Haunted live feed for over a year. I think Paul said it's at the centre. You probably guessed anyway. But you'll have to watch that live feed, everyone, because it is going to be an amazing live feed, that is.
Yeah. And they've caught so much good stuff in the past, haven't they? You know, when they brought Barry Guy up, and the chair moved, the wheelchair moved, the table in the seance room moved, and that was amazing. That's on film.
Yeah.
And for anybody who knows the centre, that table is a heavy table. You know, you can't just shove it lightly with your feet or with your hands. It's a very heavy table, and when you see the table move and everybody's reactions, you know that's genuine.
Yeah. Michelle says, we're running a bit late, but we'll carry on because there's still loads of comments. As long as you're okay, Jane.
Yeah.
Michelle says, my cat changed up the stairs on camcorder when I left it overnight. I think that should be chased. I think the cat chased an orb. Diane says, have you seen the news tonight about a cafe has been closed off by the police in Gloucestershire as they have found further remains of a young person connected to Fred West?
Yes, seen that. It's very sad. But if it brings some closure to the family after all these years.
It is very sad.
That when these things happened, you know, she must have probably been sending a signal to somebody or trying to show somebody something, and somebody's actually seen it and taken notice and found her. If that's her, obviously they need to identify it.
Yeah, that's sad. Ames says Jason is in for a treat. Yeah, they are in for a great night. Oh gosh. Wendy says, I went on an investigation in a local pub. All the photos that came back of me had white streak above my head. It's interesting. Mandy says, yes, I've seen that. I hope they find her and then she can finally rest. Yeah, that's so sad. After all these years. Ames says, I remember the table in the sounds room twisting.
Yeah.
And that happened when we did a live feed. The table twisted, Amy was on it.
Yeah.
Karen says, Diane Drake, bless that young person. Very sad news, but at least now they can be laid to rest properly with love. Yes. And obviously we send our best wishes to their family.
Yeah.
Jason says, after the last experience I had during an event with guests, Paul is probably right about the goosebumps. I think when Haunted Live come, if it's okay with Paul, I want to film you guys as you come into the centre.
Yeah.
Just so we can get your reactions.
Yeah. I'll see if I can stir the guys up a bit just to make sure you have a good night.
Paul says, Barry Guy and the table still blown away by that, and the doll and the wheelchair and the mirror that Aleister Crowley and the creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had the spirit box, didn't they, where Aleister Crowley clearly said his name several times.
Yeah, he said Aleister first because Vicky was there. It's one of our members' live feeds. It was amazing. Diane said it was after getting Fred and Rose shouted out over Ames' ghost box on Sunday. Because on Sunday's live feed, did you hear that, Jane? The name Fred came out and the name Rose. Diane says, love hearing Neil and James discussing everything paranormal. So down to earth. Thanks, Diane.
Thank you.
We haven't got any egos. Okay. I think it's 6 minutes past 10. We're on overtime. Wow. Jane will want paying overtime now. No, we're just joking.
Is it double time or time and a half?
You can have 2 peanuts instead of 1. So we just want to say thanks to everyone for watching. Some amazing comments. We love doing the show. We love getting your comments, and I'm really I'll talk to Paul about us filming them as they come in, because I think the reactions are going to be ace.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what the guys said. But like Paul said, the Haunted Live guys are going to do a live feed from the centre soon, as soon as possible. I hope they're just going to confirm the date, and that's about it, isn't it, Jane?
It is. We've had a great show tonight. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, everyone, for joining in, putting all your comments in, letting us know your thoughts and your feelings and everything. And it's been great. I really enjoyed it.
Before we go, we will be doing a virtual tour of the centre on Saturday, showing people what we've done over the lockdown, because we have changed a few bits. And on Sunday is our next Demon Files.
Yes.
And it's
Bale,
whatever his name, Bale.
Yeah.
Bale sounds more spooky to me.
Yeah. He's the same guy, though.
Yeah. That will only be on. But that will only be on our YouTube channel. So if you type it, I'll share the link anyway during the week. So if you want to watch that on Sunday, it'll start about 9:15ish after Amy's done her live show for Ghost on Tours. That's this Sunday. So we'll be talking to Bale, hopefully. And we're going to be doing a different experiment from last time. And we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching. Thanks for all the comments. And we'll say good night.
Yeah.
So
bye for
we'll
now.
see you soon.